he says to you, put on. Have you ever seen what armor looked like back then? Putting it on yourself was a little bit rough. So this is almost like it's a community thing. You need help putting on your armor. You need someone to help put on those heavy pieces of the armor and strap them on, etc. So we can work together for this. And he says that all of this is needed so that we can have the ability or the power to stand against the schemes of the adversary. So these things that are the armor are to give us the power, the ability, all those things that we would need to stand against those schemes. And his schemes are not physical. His schemes are emotional and intellectual and informational and relational. Okay, it's not like he physically pushes you or controls you or does something to you physically. We don't wrestle against people, physical beings, but we do wrestle against the flesh. But the flesh is referring to the heart and the emotions and the thoughts. So when we talk about in other places, and Shaul talks about being fleshly, he's not talking about the actual physical thing called flesh. So he's saying here, look, we're not wrestling against people. You're wrestling against concepts, ideas, information. What happened in the garden? We talked about this last night when we started the Torah portion cycle again. What happened in the garden? The adversary challenged them about information, challenged their emotions, challenged their desires to see if they might be tempted to do something that was not instructed for them to do, that was actually instructed for them not to do. Okay, he didn't twist their arms, he didn't threaten them, and that's the kind of schemes of the adversary. But this armor is not for fighting human beings or wild beasts. It's for dealing with authority struggles. Can you see that here? It says we're fighting against authorities, principalities, world rulers. It's all about authority. It's a struggle over authority. Isn't that what it always is from the beginning to the end of this book? It's always a struggle with authority. So this armor is supposed to help you with that struggle so that you can be strong to stand against the schemes of the adversary. He says, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. That is probably one of the most misused, probably abused verses of all time. Because nobody understands what it means, who's using it. They just don't. It says, if you stay in my word, you are truly my taught ones, and through that you are going to have a relationship with the truth. And that relationship is going to make you free. That's a whole different level of understanding. If you stay in my word, though, they leave that out. They just say, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. They don't go and understand the context. Because a lot of you have a problem with worry. But most of your worry problem is an armor problem, is a serving master's problem, is an authority fight you're losing. Because you're allowing the physical, I was going to say evidence, what looks like evidence, okay? Because it's really more fear, which is fear is false evidence, appearing real. But you're seeing this evidence around you, and you're worried instead of understanding who actually is in charge and why you don't need to worry. But you get all confused because you will not accept that truth. You're supposed to gird your waist with truth. This is truth coming out of Yeshua's mouth. He says, so why are you worrying? Yeah, he fed them with manna, and yeah, he gave them some water to drink here and there, and gave them some stuff to eat, but really, the abundance that he told them they would have didn't happen until they learned to seek him. He put them through the wilderness for 40 years so they could understand. That was their testing, that was their trial, so that it could be a humbling enough experience to get them to where they would really seek him and trust him and believe him. See, everybody wants to talk about believing in. How about believing him? I believe in Messiah. I believe in this. I believe. Those are all words. Do you actually believe? How do you know? I believe him, so I do it because I believe him. He said it, I believe it. I don't believe in. Of course I believe in because that's part of it. I'm saying, but I don't just believe in something. I believe it, which means I act in a certain way because I believe it to be true. Therefore, having girded up the loins of your mind, being sober, set. That's something you do. Okay, again, there's so much evidence everywhere, on every page, that there's parts in this that you must do. So that any of that nonsense, garbage, lies is being told every week, everywhere in the mainstream about how it's all done for you is just not there. That he does his part, the part you can't do. But he says to you, you having girded up the loins of your mind, you set your expectations perfectly upon. What does it mean to set your, he says, in other words, focus, hold on to, buy into the expectations of the above. Not conforming yourselves to the former lusts in your ignorance. So it's not just former lusts. We're talking about the ones that in your ignorance you actually thought were working or beneficial. So we're not just talking about former lusts in general. We're talking about the ones that you did in ignorance, not knowing that they were never going to get you what you wanted or desired, were never going to bring you what you desired. Maybe short term brought you something that felt like it was what you desired, but not really. Do you know when you do Yahweh's things, you never wake up with a hangover? You never feel guilty and wonder what you did? When you do Yahweh stuff, there's never guilt, recrimination, there's never negative emotion, there's never anything bad like the hangovers and the headaches and everything. You don't have any of that problem. The worst that happens when you stay up like last night and we were doing a Torah study till almost midnight, is you wake up tired. It's all about your works, but your works are all about your beliefs. So I don't want people to think, well, you're just teaching us all about works. Well, what's the basis of your works? James tells us, my works demonstrate in a three-dimensional way my beliefs. Because I'm going to do based on what I believe. So it's always about your beliefs. Because we always tell people your actions speak louder than your words. Your actions speak so loud I can't hear what you're saying. Because the actions are the reality of what you're thinking and feeling, not the words. You can say anything, it's what you do that matters, right? We have that parable of the one son. He says to the son to go do something. The son said no, but then went and did it anyway. The other son said yes and did nothing. So which was more important, the words or the action? The action said everything. Oh no, the good news is about Messiah dying, being buried, and resurrected. Well, that is good news. And it's part of the bigger good news. But what is the good news? The word of Elohim remains forever is the good news. That his word stands. And that you can stand on that word. Not like Christians teach you to stand on a promise and stand on, I'm just standing on the word. Well, you might want to get off of it, pick it up and read it. Okay? I don't know what you're doing standing on the word. He means stand on the word, meaning you read the word and you're going to stand and do what it says. And don't do what it says not to do. You're going to make a stand. You're going to stand firm.